My name is Brian David Johnson. I'm a futurist at the Intel Corporation. I'm also a writer of both science fiction and science fact. Being a futurist at Intel might sound like science fiction, but it's actually pretty pragmatic. And the reason is because when we design the chips to go into your televisions, your computers, your phones, we need to do it about 5 to 10 years in advance. So what that means is we need to have an understanding of what people will want to do with those devices 5 to 10 years before they actually come out. So it's my job as a futurist to have a very pragmatic vision of what people will want to do in the year 2020. Our brand of futurism really isn't about prediction. What we do is really future casting. And what future casting is, it's a process for developing a vision for the future. And that process really involves a lot of different inputs. It involves social science research, technology research, global trends, and things like science fiction. Because what science fiction does is it gives us a way to think about the future, and it gives us a way to think about the implications of the technologies that we're building on the people who will actually be using them. So when we look out into the future and we think about what future technologies will people be using 5, 10, 15 years from now, one of the things that we see is sensors. We're going to have a lot more sensors in the future than we do today, but what those sensors are going to be a little different. So we're going to have accelerometers and we're going to have GPS, but also we'll have cameras. We'll have what we call soft sensors, which is really software that gets an understanding of what you like, where you are, gives you better recommendations. So it's a way of taking hardware and software and putting them together so that you have a better experience around sensing that then can feed your devices with more information. What I think is pretty interesting about the Morrow Project is it brings together some really smart science fiction writers and future thinkers. And what they've done is they've taken the technology that's being developed inside of Intel's labs, and also technology that's being developed around the world, and they put it into their stories. But like all good science fiction, the stories aren't about technology. The stories are actually about people. The stories are about the people and the world that they live in. Technology might enable it, technology might move throughout it, but really it's about people. And for us, that's really important because at Intel, when we're doing design, when we're doing this future casting, when we're designing these future platforms, it really is about people and how people will use these different platforms. And so the Morrow Project is very important because for us, it gives us a way of envisioning how people could use our technologies. One of the great outputs of future casting, or one of the great things that we can do with future casting, is develop a vision for the future. And why that's important is if we can give people a vision of the future, if we can do it through science fiction, what we can do is capture people's imagination. And the reason why that's so important is because if we can capture people's imaginations, then we can really start asking ourselves, what is the type of future we want to live in? What do we want our world to be like in 5, 10, 15 years? And that visioning of the future can be incredibly powerful.